Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mouse Club podcast. My name is Marissa, and I'm the host of this podcast. Welcome. I am super excited that you're joining me today, and this episode is going to be super fun. I have my dad joining me, and we are talking about how to help your kids fall in love with movies. And I'm not just talking Disney and Universal, I'm talking about the classics. And my dad and I also talk about being a single dad. My dad was in law school while I was growing up and how he was able to afford taking us to the movies and taking us to Disney. And we give you guys some good tips and tricks if you're a single parent or a parent on a budget and you want to take your kids to the parks. I think you guys are really going to love this episode. We also share some fun stories and some throwbacks of some attractions and things that are closed now but used to be open when we used to go to the parks. So I'm really excited to share this episode with you guys. I hope that you love it. And before we get into that, we have some Mouse Club news, and we actually have so much to get into, guys. I pretty much don't know how we're going to cover it all. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first piece of news that I have is, of course, that Universal has officially announced that they will be building the Velociraptor roller coaster. I'm trying to see the official name. The Jurassic World Velocicoaster, and it's coming in 2021. If you haven't seen, this is a long-running joke with like different Disney news sites and Disney content creators, because the Velociraptors have been arriving in packages that make it so obvious what they are. So this is not something really new if you follow any Disney news, theme park news. But basically, in the official statement, they say it's going to feature intense maneuvers that will send guests catapulting up to 70 miles per hour, more than 150 feet in the air. I think this will be so cool. I'm excited to have something that is specifically Jurassic World and not Jurassic Park, with Blue and the other Velociraptors. Blue is just so adorable. I kind of regret naming Nala because I think she's so much more of a Blue, like when she gets ferocious. And I actually love the name Blue. So if we do get another dog, I might name it Blue because it just reminds me of the Velociraptor. And when we first got Nala, we were actually going to give her the Velociraptor costume for Halloween. And me and Blake were going to be Owen and, oh my gosh, I cannot think of the girl's name, but Owen and the other girl, who's played by Dallas Bryce Howard. And that was going to be such a cute couple's costume. So maybe we'll have to do it again when the next Jurassic World movie comes out. But I'm excited for this new roller coaster. I think it's going to be super, super exciting. So I'm excited about that. Here's some other things that they say. The fastest reaching point is going to be 70 miles per hour in 2.4 seconds. One-of-a-kind 360-degree barrel roll right above the Islands of Adventure Lagoon. Zero gravity inverted stall that will send riders upside down across 100 feet of track in a jaw-dropping maneuver that is the first of its kind. Go airborne during the towering top hat, which propels riders 155 feet in the air and then immediately into an 80-degree drop, Universal's steepest drop yet. And 12 heart-pounding seconds of airtime, the thrilling sensation of weightlessness riders feel when they're lifted from their seats throughout the entire adventure. Sounds terrifying, but also like something I have to try, so I'm very intrigued to check that out. Also, something else huge that happened this week was that Disney announced that they will be adding a fifth key to their I don't know what it's called. The 4 keys are basically the standard of how you are to be an employee or a facilitator of Disney, I guess is the right way to put it. So there's been 4 keys for a long time: safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. If you work in the park, you know these back and front. So safety, obviously, safety begins with me. It's all about being safe, cleaning up spills, and making sure people are safe, all that stuff. And the 4 keys are supposed to go in order. So safety is the most important. Next is courtesy. So holding open the door for a guest, letting people pass you in line if they need something quickly, things of that nature. Courtesy. Show is the overall appearance of the park. So, making sure the paint is nice, making sure that everyone's costume is well in order, making sure that the sound is up and all of that sort of thing. And lastly, efficiency. So environmentalism, recycling, turning off water when it's not being used. And like I said, they're supposed to go in order. So nothing should come before safety. Safety is the most important thing. So for example, if you're wanting to be courteous and hold open a door for a guest, but there's a spill on the floor and the guest is going to slip and fall, obviously you're not going to open the door because safety comes first. Basically is the best way I can describe it. So they are officially adding a fifth key called inclusivity. So inclusivity is about, accepting everybody and being inclusive. And I'm excited about this. But to be 100% honest with you guys, I really think that it was only added to make Disney look good without having the full picture. So let me explain before you get upset with me. So they announced that they're going to be having inclusivity, but they didn't announce what exactly that's going to mean. So there's a lot of different ideas going around in people's head as far as how inclusivity could be included in the parks. Whether on name tags, if it's going to have pronouns like she, her, or he, him, or if they're going to change costumes to be more gender neutral. There's a lot of different ideas for how things might change, but Disney has not announced anything yet. So I'm curious if what they're going to do on it, and I'll keep you guys updated as that comes about. But as of right now, they've only announced that there is a new key called inclusivity. So there are now 5 keys in the parks. And to be 100% honest with you guys, as much as I think it's a cool concept to have pronouns on name tags, I don't think it's going to work the way that people are expecting it to, because working in the parks, people are very disrespectful and very rude sometimes. For example, one day I picked up a shift in Frontierland. Actually, I was in Frontierland for a couple weeks because they were really short-staffed. And a man came up to me and was super rude to me because I was not a frontier person. I was not a country girl. And so he was telling me all of these different country slang or Southern terminology that I did not know. And then he proceeded to make fun of me and say, why are you working here if you don't know these words? You're not a real Southerner. You're not a real country girl. I was like, sir, I'm literally working here for $10 an hour. I'm literally just trying to do my job. But I genuinely think that this could very well happen if they put pronouns on the name tags. I think people could potentially purposefully call people by different pronouns. And I don't know if it's going to work out that well. So I'm just putting that out there. Hopefully that's not the case. But I feel like that could definitely happen just from my experience working in the parks and how mean people can be from what I've experienced so far. But anyway, I will keep you guys updated with that as they give us more information. Next up on the list is that there is a new show. Oh no, it's a movie called The Secret Society of Second Born Royals, which is now on Disney Plus. I'm excited to check it out. It looks very interesting. They have a pretty good cast on, so I'm excited to see how that is. Let me see what else. I have this list here I'm trying to go through. An artist called Nicholas Smith made a piece of artwork called King Chad, which is now at Downtown Disney District at Disneyland. If you have not seen it, please look it up. It's called Nicholas Smith King Chad. It is beautiful. So it is T'Challa or Black Panther or Chadwick Boseman. And he's basically doing the Wakanda sign to a young child who is wearing a Black Panther mask. And not like face mask like coronavirus, but like a mask, like a Halloween mask, like if he was wearing like a Black Panther costume. And he's wearing a hospital gown and a hospital bracelet, which basically implies that he might have cancer, which is what Chadwick Boseman had when he passed away. And it's absolutely beautiful. They're doing the Wakanda sign to each other, and it is so cool. And I'm so excited for that inclusion. I should be using my keys now. The inclusion and the diversity of having that painting in Downtown Disney. I think it is so beautiful, and I'm so excited to see it in person one day. Another thing that was announced was that there is going to be a short called Burrow, which is going to be the new Pixar short before the movie Soul, which is coming out on November 20th. And all they've really shown is this picture of all these animals living in their burrows underground, and it looks really cute. So I'm excited to see what that's like. Also, Dancing with the Stars is officially back, and this week, as you are listening to this episode, they did Disney Night. So be sure to check that out on ABC or on YouTube if you want to see any of those dances and different numbers. Another really important thing is that they have officially announced that the next D23 Expo will be held September 9th through 11th in 2022. So it looks like we're skipping this year and also 2021. So they're definitely doing a lot of preparations. And that is going to be at the Anaheim Convention Center. And I'm honestly really excited because I think I might be able to go to this. I'm going to really make it a goal to be able to go, even if it's just by myself, because I think that would be really good for the podcast. Disney, if you want to send me, I'd love to go to be able to give you guys all the inside scoop and do some recordings and meet with people there. And yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that I'm able to go. And if you guys are interested, that's going to be at the Anaheim Convention Center in California. And again, that's September 9th through 11th, 2022, which I'm sure we'll get more information on in the future. Lastly, the last piece of news I have, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'll just include it next week if I forgot. Marvel's 616 is going to be premiering on November 20th on Disney Plus, which it says 8 remarkable stories, 8 unique filmmakers. So I think this is kind of more behind the scenes of how they made the movies. It's a documentary series, which I'm so excited about because, like I said, Frozen Into the Unknown, the behind the scenes of how they made Frozen was absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. And also the Star Wars behind the scenes of Rise of Skywalker, which Blake watched. He really enjoyed that as well. So I'm excited. I really love all the behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, guys, that is it for the Disney news. As always, if you would like to follow me on Instagram, it is at the Mouse Club Podcast, where I do a lot of polls and activities and things of that nature. I'd be really excited to have you all join me there. Also, if you would like to leave me a rating and review, leave your handle of your social media or your YouTube or whatever. I'd love to give you a little shout out. Those rating and reviews really do help me in the Apple Podcast store. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back with my dad talking about how to get your kids to love movies. All right, everyone. Well, this is my dad, Robert. Say hello, Father.
Hello, Father. Just hello, everyone.
This is my dad. He's joining me with a very, very busy schedule. So please give him a thank you in the comments. We're really excited to have him here. And the reason I brought my dad was because I thought it'd be fun to talk about fostering a love for movies in your kids. And that's some of my favorite memories with my dad from when I was a kid is watching movies. We literally, like, whenever I was with you on the weekends, I feel like we always went and saw a movie. Like, always. That was, like, our activity.
Yeah, that was one of our traditions for sure. It's a good way to spend some time with both of you and also get out there and have fun because I love entertainment, movies, theater, music. And so it was good to get you guys out there and get out and have some fun and watch a movie and introduce you to a lot of the, I know we saw probably most of the classics back then, Toy Story and a bunch of the movies that now I can't believe how long it's been since they actually came out.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think because, I was wondering how, what's the earliest movie I remember seeing in the theaters? And I think the oldest one I remember is when we went to see The Emperor's New Groove, which was a long time ago, like in 2001 or 2, I think. And I remember it specifically because the movie stopped in the middle. So that's the oldest memory I have. But that was, 2000. That was so long ago.
It's crazy how long it's been for most of these movies. I mean, like Toy Story, it goes back so far that it's crazy. It makes me feel old for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I was alive when Toy Story came out. I think,
Oh, some of the movies in the series were out, and I know
yeah,
we did the one with Donkey. Can't remember the title, but
Shrek.
Shrek was definitely one that we
Yeah,
watched, and
yeah.
we pretty much saw all the movies that came out back then. So that it was a lot of
Oh, yeah.
fun going out there and doing that.
Yeah, for sure. So, what advice do you have? Okay, so obviously, like we saw a lot of the cartoons, the Disney movies, the DreamWorks, all of those things. But something really cool is that you also taught me to appreciate the classics like Princess Bride, and we watched The Twilight Zone and things like that. And when we used to watch them, I remember me and Ryan, who Ryan is my brother for people listening, if you're confused, we would always be like, no, we don't want to watch that. No, it's in black and white. So, what is your advice to people who want to introduce their kids to classic movies, maybe even like classic Disney movies, but their kids are hesitant?
Well, first of all, I would start with a true classic like Wizard of Oz or something that, and introduce them to the original one, and it's a story that they're probably going to be into, and they're going to see, it's so different that it's kind of cool. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I liked old movies when I was young. I would stay up super late when my parents didn't know I was watching TV, and I would watch movies from the 40s and 50s. So it's something that I liked, and I wanted to share with both of you, because
Yeah.
it's the root of entertainment, and there's so many good classics that, um, it's just another way of teaching history through movies as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's super cool. And yeah, I remember watching so many movies, especially The Twilight Zone. I feel like we watched so much of The Twilight Zone, and now I watch The Twilight Zone now by myself. But it
Yeah,
was fun.
Twilight Zone is definitely a classic, and it's it's strange enough, but it's not so scary that you can't watch with kids.
Yeah.
And it really is something. The stories are so different that they hook you, and then you want to see what they're going to come up with next. So it's always fun to watch Twilight Zone. And I know, I mean, one of my memories with both of you, if you remember, that you guys would just watch for hours and hours. And this wasn't even in the movies; it was Pippi Longstocking for some reason.
Oh yeah, I remember Pippi Longstocking. I don't know why we've watched it so much, but
You were both obsessed with it, and it was crazy. And it was fun because she was like a tomboy, but she, stood up for herself, and she was tough. So that, I think was good, especially for back then,
yeah,
for females to have a sense of, power, and not know that they can't be, bullied or anything like that either.
right. Yeah, for sure. Which is important. I feel like for both boys and girls to watch.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what would you say? What are your top three favorite Disney movies in general?
Wow.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
All time. Um,
Yeah, that like come to your head, like first off.
I mean, Lion King has to be one of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, Frozen, I
Mm-hmm.
think, was a great movie, and especially watching it with all of you guys, it means even more, to us. So it was
Yeah.
a special movie. And then I love the Shrek movies, but there's so many that it's really hard to narrow
Yeah.
it down at that point.
Yeah. Shrek, there's like 5 of them now, I think. And then there's like holiday spin-offs and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then what are your favorite classic movies?
Well, classics. I mean, Casablanca has to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wow, that's putting me on the spot. Classics. One, give me a second, and the name will come to me, that I recently watched with Jaja. And 12 Angry Men is probably one of my favorites ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's phenomenal. It takes place in one room, the whole movie, and it's about a jury that basically everybody wants to convict the guy and go home, and one person is holding out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give the ending away, but basically it's the battle they all have in that room, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
different takes. on the same situation, and also a
Mhm.
sign of the times where how they perceive different things. But 12 Angry Men has got to be one of my favorites of all time.
Okay. That's a good one for the list. I know you love like The Shining, Pulp Fiction,
Well, yeah, I mean,
all the
I guess
classics.
those are classics for you. When I think classics, I'm thinking, 50s, 60s. Um,
Yeah.
but absolutely, I mean, Pulp Fiction is probably my favorite movie all time, but that's not one that you can watch with children, obviously.
Hmm.
Another one that I introduced you guys to, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Oh yeah,
which
that's a
is
good movie.
absolutely a classic. Um, and yeah, so there's different levels, and it wasn't just movies, because I used to take you guys to the theater in Gables Center and Gables Playhouse,
Oh
and we used
yeah.
to watch live performances too, and those were a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, the only one I remember distinctly was Little Shop of Horrors
Yeah, that was a lot of
because the
fun.
plant. Yeah, but I remember we went like a lot because I remember that area a lot.
Yeah, it was neat because they had, like, I think it was summer passes for, like, kids, and then we would catch a lot of shows during the summers, and it was a lot of fun, um, back then.
Yeah. And another movie, My Cousin Vinny, that was one that we used to watch a lot.
My cousin Benny,
And
yeah, once you guys were at the point where
a little
the
older.
curse words
Yeah.
wouldn't bother you, My Cousin Benny's one of my other favorites. And again, it's a hilarious movie, but it definitely has a lot of F bombs in it.
Yeah. And something a lot of people might not know is that Marissa Tomei is where I get my namesake from.
Yep, that's part of the history. Uh, she was one of my favorite actresses, and especially she was funny, especially that movie. And I love the name, and I thought she was really cool back then, and that was, yeah, that was one of the inspirations, I guess.
Yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people ask me where my name comes from, and that's not who I'm named after, but it's where the idea for my name came from.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, well, something else I wanted to talk to you about while you're on the podcast is so when I was growing up with my dad was in law school. He's a lawyer now. Am I allowed to say what kind of lawyer you are, or is that a secret?
No, you can say it. That's fine.
Okay. My dad's a bankruptcy lawyer now. So I'll put his socials in the description box below for anybody in Miami who might be in need of his services. But he was in law school growing up, and so obviously like things were a little bit tight, but somehow you still made the movies work and you still made going to the parks work. So, what's your advice to any single parents or parents who may be on a tight budget or in school, like going to the parks or the movies or things like that?
Well, back then the trick was, you know, parks, and there were, different parks and different activities and fun things you can do
Yeah.
that wouldn't cost a lot. And in fact, I know we used to go to the zoo a lot, because you can down here you can get an annual pass to the Metro Zoo, and then
Right.
you can go for free. So we would go all the time, and each time was like an adventure. As far as the movies, back then it was getting to the movies and going to see the matinees.
Mhm.
These days no one's going to the movies, but one of the AMC has the AMC Plus program, which is awesome because you get to see, like, I think, 6 to 12. It's a bunch of movies a month, and there's very little restrictions. You can even watch, um, like, the HD and the 3D movies without any additional surcharges. And that's the
Mhm.
plan that we had most recently before, all the movie theaters shut down.
Yeah.
But definitely get passes that let you go to places over and over. Kids don't get tired of fun stuff. I think we had passes to the Seaquarium 1 or 2 summers,
Mhm.
and that's a good way to get out and have fun. And movies, it's just same thing. Try to find a pass that gives you the most bang for your buck, and you
Right.
get out there, and in most places you can take snacks with you, so you don't have to pay a bunch of
Mhm.
money for food anywhere you go either. So it can be done. And
Yeah.
going to parks and finding events at malls and at different locations that are fun and usually free for kids especially.
Yeah, for sure. I remember too, like some of the things you did, like, well, Disney and Universal, you can bring your own food, so that's helpful if people are on a tight budget. But I remember, like, some of the things you guys did was like we could pick one snack a day, so that helped us to not be buying like snacks and stuff like all the time.
Yeah, we would pack a backpack with a bunch of snacks, and but when you go to
Yeah,
those places, you want to have something good, or you want to enjoy something. So I would always say, we would
right,
usually get one meal a day, but I would always say you can pick one treat, I guess you can call it, and then
right.
and it would be funny because sometimes you guys couldn't decide and you would wait, and then sometimes at the end of the day would come and you still hadn't picked anything. So it kind of made it fun
Yeah.
at the same time.
Well, it's totally true though, because you don't want to go to Disney and not have like a Mickey pretzel or like a churro or a turkey leg. So it's nice to have that extra spending. But I remember me and Jillian, who Jillian is my stepsister for everybody listening, we would cheat the system and we would like, I remember the first time, like we'd get two treats because I got one and she got one, and we'd split the first one and then split the second
Yeah,
one. So we cheated the system a little bit, but it
that's a smart
worked.
way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then another thing too that I thought about while I was planning for this episode is going to the parks like when it's smaller crowds. So like September or end of August or like end of January, beginning of February, because then you get the most of your money or the most for your money, I feel like, because you're not, you don't have as long of waits, so you can go on more rides and it's not as crowded. So I feel like it's worth more. And also, the tickets are cheaper and the hotels are cheaper during those times too.
Yeah, definitely. And again, same thing applies to Disney. If Especially if you live in Florida, you can get a Florida resident annual pass, and you're going
Hmm.
to save a lot of money in the long run. And you can visit three or
Yeah,
four times a year, for what might cost some people one trip, but you can spread that
right.
out. And if you go to the parks and you're not worried about doing every single ride, it's a lot more
Hmm.
comfortable and you can just relax and enjoy it. And another trick is, most families try to get there at the crack of dawn, and by 2 or 3,
Yeah,
the kids are screaming and everybody's freaking out. Uh, so what we do a
right.
lot of times is we don't even get there till 2 or 3, and stay till they close, and the lines get better and better as it gets later. And again, you're there with less stress and just having more fun and not sweating to death either.
Yeah. It's so true too because everybody that I talk to, they're like, "Wait, you've never been to the opening of the park?" I'm like, "No." That was never something that we did was wake up that early and go to the park. So we always went a little bit later in the day, which I feel like was so much better and the crowds are a lot less intense too.
Yeah, and the only
So,
time we've had to go that early is now with the new Star Wars ride.
oh
Before the
yeah.
limited entries, you literally had to get there like at 6 in the morning to get into the queue,
Hmm.
and if you were lucky, you'd be able to ride the ride that day. So that was the one exception. But in general, yeah, we like to, you got to enjoy it and have fun, because if you spend your whole trip to Disney running and running and sweating and frustrated, it's not fun. And we always wanted to keep it as fun as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Screaming kids don't seem like a lot of fun to bring to the
Not at
parks.
all.
I remember too when I like was old enough when me and Ryan were both old enough and you stopped getting the stroller rentals. I remember how happy you were.
Oh yeah, I mean, strollers are not fun, whether you rent them
Yeah.
or take your own. And what I like to do at the last few times we went, when you were, I think those few times you were out of the stroller, but Ryan still needed it, and you guys would actually share it for the most part. And I would
Yeah.
just rent them because it was easier than having to drag a stroller, unpack it, pack it.
Hmm.
And you guys thought it was really cool to be in one of the strollers too, so it kept you guys kind of happy while we were going around the park. And then
Yeah.
after that, for a little while, I think was the phase where those sneakers with the wheels were out.
Oh
and
yeah,
and I think both
Heelys.
of you had Heelys, and actually you guys would just glide along, and I'd have to keep up with you both. So it definitely helped
Yeah.
because it gets tiring when you're out there walking around for so long.
That's another good thing to talk about too, is how did you keep us entertained in the lines, or how did you keep us going throughout the day? Any tips or tricks with that?
Well, these days there's a million like phone games that you can play as a group. But most kids
Yeah.
now are like on their iPhone and they're entertaining themselves. But back then, I think we just kind of like would entertain each other or talk about the ride, or like I try to get you guys excited about what we were gonna do, and I think we had like little either Game Boys or something that would keep you guys busy while you wouldn't, online, so you wouldn't notice how long you've been actually sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like distraction is the key, because otherwise if you're just standing there looking around, it feels like an eternity to be waiting in line.
Yeah, it's never fun to sit in line for an hour or two, just especially in the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in Florida.
It gets brutal.
Yeah. Well, you're also the only person I know who has been to the parks since they reopened. And am I allowed to say that you had coronavirus?
Yeah, it's no secret. got it in July and got past it. It was bad, but not bad enough to send me to the hospital. So in a way, I'm almost kind of glad that I got it. It didn't kill me and I'm past it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a fun experience, but it could have been worse for sure.
Yeah. So you were a little more comfortable going to the parks, I guess, because you weren't as worried of getting it, right?
Yeah. But they are doing a great job. And it actually was probably one of the best trips we've had, because the longest wait, I mean, literally there was no wait longer than 20 minutes except for one ride, which was the new ride at MGM, or Hollywood Studios, that took over the Great Movie Ride. That one was about 40 minutes.
Oh, the Mickey
yeah,
and Minnie one?
That one was only about 40 minutes, which normally would have been about 2 hours. So it was great.
Yeah.
And it was a little hot, but I'll trade a little bit of sweat for no lines any day. It was awesome just going from ride to ride, and we got to do everything we wanted. And it was not crowded because you're walking down the streets of Disney and there's like no one around. You're just like, you're in a ghost city, but it was cool at the same time because you're also not in a huge crowd bumping into people, and it was just really cool, I thought. And they did a good job as far as people having to keep their masks on, even when on the rides. And if they saw people not paying attention or taking them off, they would immediately tell them that they had to put their mask back on. So it was really a great trip. We had a lot of fun, and it was probably one of the better trips we've had because the lines were so short and we got to do so much.
Yeah, which is really nice. That's super cool. I would be interested in going, but well, I'm probably more likely to go now, but just in the summer when we came down in like when was it, August, it was just so hot, and then having to wear a mask like the whole day, I feel like I would not enjoy that. So I think I would be more likely to go like probably like now that it's getting a little cooler, you know?
Yeah, once the weather's cooler, it should be perfect. I hate wearing the mask too, believe me, but it was worth it for no lines. It was just something that'll once they go back to full capacity, that's something we'll never see again. I mean, Soarin' was 5 minutes. I mean, when in the world do you see Soarin' for 5 minute lines? So it was actually really cool.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds interesting. I wish I could go, like if we lived there now, I would go just to experience it, but making a trip for it would, I feel like, be hard. You know what I mean?
We don't know how long it's going to last, so maybe by the time you come down here, they're still unlimited. They might be at higher capacity, but they might not be at full capacity, and you can still have a good time. They're actually not doing annual passes, though. I don't know if you knew that. You cannot get an annual pass if you don't currently have one. Even if you had an annual pass,
oh really?
You can't even renew them, because we had Jason's pass that we've had for years. and it lapsed last
Mm-hmm.
year. And when we went to try to renew it, they said we couldn't. Only they're only honoring the active
Dang.
passes and no new passes, no renewals, nothing. So it's it's crazy.
Yeah. It makes sense because I feel like you're not getting as much as like for your money as you used to. Like when it comes to like parades and shows and like all the discounts and stuff that you used to get, because I don't think dining's open again yet, is it? Like
Yeah,
sit
most of the
down
dining's
dining.
open. We sat down.
Oh, it
I
is.
forgot where we ate. We sat down, and then the other, some of the like fast food type dining, they they have the
Yeah.
tables spaced apart, and they actually have sections
Hmm.
where at Animal Kingdom there was, you know, two or three locations which are actually meant just so you can go in and sit down and breathe and take your mask off and relax for a little while, and with tables and everything.
Yeah,
So yeah, they're doing a pretty good job about that. Um, so yeah,
that's good.
it was pretty enjoyable actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll have to come check it out. I was gonna message you after this to tell you when our next trip is, so I'll send you that
So
information. But yeah, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. When is your ideal time to go to the parks? Like for anybody planning to go with their kids for the first time, what's the best time of year?
I think, well, as far as weather and for scenery, October through January, because they'll have the decorations
Hmm.
up and so many different things that you do.
Yeah.
The weather is great, and there's really just, you know, like the Christmas decorations they do are awesome. It might be a little, well, right
Yeah.
now it won't be crowded probably, but typically it's a little more crowded during those times, but probably
Hmm.
worth it. And otherwise, I would say like February is always good because the weather's great and there's usually nothing, no major holidays or breaks from school. Like
Hmm.
April and May are a little tough sometimes because of spring break, and so February seemed
Right.
to always be a good month. Late January and early and anytime in February, because you know you don't get those
Yeah.
school crowds that you get a lot of the other times of the year.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that too, is how good it is to go in January and February because a lot of people do their huge trip like in at the end of December. Like the last 2 weeks of December, just I recommend do not go to the parks. It is like it's just so crowded that you can't even move and the waits for like even like Carousel Progress are like 40 minutes. But people don't know that since a lot of people go like during those 2 weeks, that January and February are practically empty because everybody's already done their trip. And you still get to enjoy the weather, and they still have the decorations up for a little bit of January. So you still get the experience. And also, the beginning of December, too, is pretty empty, and you still get all the decorations and the shows
Exactly,
and
yeah,
stuff.
because most people are traveling Thanksgiving and then they wait for Christmas or the end of the month. So
Right.
early to mid December is good as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you still get to experience all of the fun parts of like the castle being lit up and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the new castle colors are actually really nice. I know a lot of people are complaining about
Really?
them, but it looks amazing in person.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think it looks cool. I understand like people think that it's too similar to like the Disneyland Paris one or the Disneyland one because it's too pink, but I think it looks
Yeah, I wasn't
cool.
sure what I wasn't too thrilled because I like tradition. That's why I hate the fact that they closed the Great Movie Ride. But that ride actually is
Yeah.
really cool. I'm always gonna miss the Great Movie Ride, but they
Hmm.
did a great job with that replacement. But
Yeah.
you know, I actually wasn't sure what I would think about the castle, but when I saw it in person, it was just really, really nice. It was really well done.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see it. I just miss the park so much, honestly. Like a
Fun. I
lot.
got you guys spoiled.
I know. It's like weird thinking that I haven't been to the parks in like 2 years, which people listening probably are like, wow, 2 years? Like I've never been in my life. But for me, going like multiple times a year and then working at the parks and being there
Yeah.
literally every day, that's such a long time. So I'm excited to go to the parks
Cool.
again
And the good
soon.
thing is when you come back and go again, there's going to be a lot of new stuff that you haven't even experienced.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've never
Star
done
Wars is
Star
amazing.
Wars,
Absolutely.
and yeah, and we've never done, like you said, the Minnie and Mickey ride. I think there's a couple things in Magic Kingdom we have missed too, so
Yeah,
I'm
well, they're
excited to
redoing
see it.
Tower of Terror. They're redoing the Rock and Roller Coaster. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of new things when you get back.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I'm excited to see the changes to Epcot too, but some things have been put on hold, like the Mary Poppins and all that stuff. But the rest of it, I'm
Definitely.
excited for. Okay, well, before we end, are there any stories or funny moments that you remember from my childhood that you want to share from going to the
Putting me on the spot.
parks
I just
or the
know
movies?
a good memory. Some of my best and favorite pictures of all time are pictures that we took at the park. So I think that's really cool, and
Yeah,
it was nice to do something with just you guys. That was kind of like our thing. Um, so that was always
yeah,
fun, and um, I I can't think of any. You put me on a spot, but I'd be happy to think about it and get back to you on that. But I mean, there were so many different moments and things that we did that. I
yeah.
mean, I guess I'll never forget your first time at Universal when you saw Barney for the first time. Uh, you literally like
Oh, really?
you and Ryan. I can't remember now. My memory is not so great now that I'm an old man, but um, it was an experience because it was like seeing like your favorite pop superstar for the first time in person. And it was just like screaming and freaking out. And it was awesome.
Yeah. I remember I knew how to get what I wanted, and I remember if I wanted to do something, I would just tell you it was tradition and you would not be able to say no.
Yeah.
Like the Norway ride, Maelstrom, when it used to be there. I remember when we went with like, because my dad is Cuban, if you don't know, and so we have a lot of cousins. And one of the trips we went with the whole family, and nobody wanted to go, but I was like, "Come on, Dad, it's tradition,"
Yeah.
and we went.
The good thing about that one is the lines are hardly ever long, but yeah. Um,
Yeah, that one
yeah.
and the Mexico ride,
We
we used
have
to do it all the
a
time.
few traditions, and unfortunately, the Great Movie Ride was one of them. Um, but we have quite a few
Yeah.
others, and Carousel of Progress at Disney is another one that we can't go there without doing. We've done it a
Mhm.
thousand times, but it still means a lot to do that one.
Yeah, for sure. I hope
Well,
it'll
they're
stay
going to renovate it
around
apparently,
for
so
a long time.
that's really cool. They're going to add
That'll be good.
which makes sense because some of the stuff at the last part is already getting outdated. So I'm actually excited to see how they
Yeah,
change it.
for sure. Yeah, I think the last scene could use some updating, and I think they could use some like updating to the animatronics because they're a little
Yeah,
like slow
exactly.
moving. So that'll be cool. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the parks have for the future. I'm also converting all of our home videos to digital right now. So I'll send you some of those when I get them, like from the
Awesome.
parks and everything. So that should be fun. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, be sure to check out my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Marissa Potts. And yeah, I'll have a lot of like vintage. I say vintage, but I mean like 90s Disney and early 2000s Disney on there. I think it's gonna be so fun. I can't wait to go through all that footage and see the parks back then because they're so different to what they are
Yeah,
now.
that'll be cool.
All the old rides and all the old characters and
And even
stuff.
the areas because they updated like Future World and like all the worlds years ago and before. Now
Yeah.
we're used to it, but they look very different before the updates.
Yeah, and now it's gonna look even more different in like 5 years because now they're adding some new like areas and
Yeah,
new rides and stuff in Epcot specifically. So
yeah,
it's
they're all
gonna be
growing.
crazy
It's
different.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's pretty much it.
Well,
Thanks so
thanks
much
for
for
having me.
joining
It's
us,
been
Dad.
fun. It's always fun to reminisce.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll have you and probably my stepmom, who is also on. You guys, if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. But I'm sure we'll have you on soon.
I'm
That would be
always
fun.
ready.
So, well, do you want to tell them what your socials are for maybe your law firm or something? Because I know you don't really use Instagram for yourself.
I mean, primarily Rob Law Miami, and Miami Bankruptcy Group, and I'm actually coming out soon with a podcast series and a Spanish website to help the Hispanic market down here, because they get taken advantage of by attorneys in town who are just looking to make a buck and essentially lying and cheating people, and it's really ugly. So hopefully in the next few weeks I'll get that podcast series started.
Yeah, when you do, let me know. I'll post it on the page for anybody who's
Will
interested
do.
in checking it out. And I'll have, of course, all his links down in the show notes below if you guys want to check them out. And that's pretty much it. If you guys would like to follow the podcast on Instagram, it's at the Mouse Club Podcast. And my personal Instagram is at Little Miss Maris. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys have a great week. We're about to start Halloween episodes next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Mouse Club Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. And if you're listening on Apple, please leave us a little rating and review if you would be so kind. If you would like to follow us on social media, please check us out, themouseclubpodcast.com, or send us an email at themouseclubpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Mouse Club Podcast. And if you'd like to follow our host, Marissa Potts, that's me, you can follow me at Little Miss Maris. That's LITTLEMRSMARISS, Little Miss Maris. And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.